And hello to you too, PW. How are we today? I can't actually explain that at all because I've not actually tried that particular game. So you've got Star Wars Trilogy on Sega Model 3, which I covered last night. Star Wars Trilogy, it's on Sega 32X. You know what? I'm not even familiar with a Star Wars Trilogy on MAME. Um, So really, I think if you've got Star Wars Trilogy for MAME and you can't get it working, I would suggest you Google it because, like I say, it's not a game I'm familiar with MAME. I'm not aware of that one, so sorry, I can't help you with that. So, how many people have we got here in the stream on this particularly lovely sunny Saturday? Is it Saturday today? Saturday afternoon. Here in the northeast of England, the sun is shining, the birds are singing, and yeah, it's not bad. Not bad day. So yeah, PW, if you could hear what I just said, I'm not sure if you got that, because you not messaged back. I'm not familiar of Star Wars trilogy for MAME. No idea about the problem you're having. If there is such a game for MAME, there's a good possibility then that the game itself might be missing the CHD file. Now, with some main games, you'll need a zip file and as well as a CHD. No links are going to be provided as per usual, so please don't ask. Uh, so yeah, that's my advice. If there is such a game, CHD folder for your game as well as a zip. So yeah, if anyone else here who's watching right now can advise Star Wars trilogy for main won't load, let's give PW some help. Like I've been saying, I'm not actually sure of this main game, or it's quite possible then that Model 3 is in main. I'm not sure, but yeah. So, what's everyone doing today? If none of you's aware, I released a Sega Model 2 setup guide today, and that's to go alongside yesterday or last night's Sega Model 3 Supermodel System emulator setup. Sega Model 2 emulator setup, I actually used the work of another YouTuber called Warped Polygon, who's put together a little package where you can put these files inside of the Model 2 emulator, and Warped Polygon is made it that you don't need to configure video settings or anything else. Everything's done for you. So if you've not checked out the Sega Model 2 emulator video today, which I uploaded 25 minutes ago, check them check that one out. It's very, very cool. So, who have we got here? Not many people chatting, or this thing could be lagging a little bit. So yeah, I thought I would do a live stream a bit earlier. Normally, I'd do it pretty late, early hours of the morning in the UK to catch my US audience. The other night, I actually went live for 9, 10 o'clock. and I thought today I would do it a bit more earlier just to try and capture a new audience just here. So, anyways, what I'm going to do is just ask, as always, for people to give me some feedback on the videos I'm doing, which videos you've enjoyed watching, and areas of improvement, not improvement so much, but new videos I've not yet covered that you'd want to see covered. Is there anything that I'm not sure about or have not uploaded, I'm not aware of? For example, I've come across lots of different setup guides, which is on my list as always. So I've got plenty of content coming. Just Jamie isn't finished yet, far from finished. Got loads to cover. But it's always worth just letting me know if there might be some you're thinking of, and maybe I'm not aware of what I should cover. So obviously we had Game X the other day, which is pretty good views. I'm quite surprised. Game X reached the amount of views had. Obviously, it's very well needed. There isn't much for Game X on YouTube, but yeah, it's not a bad front end emulator system. Just a little bit tricky here and there. We got 5 viewers here. No one's speaking. What's going on? Is it something I said? Yo, what's up, amigo? I've not seen you in the stream for a little while. I'm actually happy someone has actually said something because I was beginning to wonder if something's going along with the stream here and people can't actually talk to me. I'm not sure what's going on. So, yeah, good to see you here, amigo. I was just explaining to PW, I'm not sure if you can see his message here. Talking about Star Wars trilogy, not working on memes. So, I have explained to PW. I'm not aware of this game, but PW hasn't responded back. So, like I said, I'm not sure if there's a problem with the stream. No idea. So, as I was just saying, wonderful Saturday evening. The sun is shining and everything else. And we're going to talk about some retro emulation. Jamie, do you know much about Hyperspin? I actually did a part one around a year ago, so it was going to be a series. Now the issue is with Hyperspin is that because I wouldn't I wouldn't say it's poorly maintained because Hyperspin is a very old front end. The problem is with Hyperspin is that different files to make it work get harder and harder to find. So I did a part one, which was quite literally the initial setup guides for it, which included the rocket launcher. And bear with me, my son is just talking to me. If you're actually here, hi, son. Um, yeah. Anyways, Hyperspin. So yeah, Hyperspin. It is a good system, but it's a very old system as well. Files are very hard to come by for Hyperspin. Very hard. Someone uploads something that you need, and then within a week or two, it's taken down. Um, so yeah, part one of Hyperspin, the crucial part, is actually in my playlist known as Hyperspin. Let me just check. We are on Hyperspin setup series. So yeah, this was going back in November 2023. I uploaded part one. People's asked for a part two, but if I'm honest with you, there's more recent front ends, very similar, if not better than Hyperspin, and it's just it's just very confusing. If I leave links in videos and people delete those links or they're no longer available, then people moan at me, saying, "Oh, the links are all wrong." So it is. It's just a headache, really. And you know what, Retrobat, going 10 years ago, maybe 12, 13 years ago, Hyperspin was one of those front ends which really was superior. There wasn't much around like it at the time, but since then a lot's came along, and most of these I've covered. Retrofe, Attract Mode in particular, are very similar to the customization you would have got with Hyperspin. Let me just remind you, if anyone wants to donate to the channel, support me, or whatever, please send donations to that PayPal address. Otherwise, YouTube, they butcher me on my yeah, supers or whatever. So, not to be too presuming, but I'm just letting everyone know about this. So, what else have we got? For people who's just joined in, today I uploaded a very cool guide for Sega Model 2 emulator. And this is actually with the blessing of Warped Polygon, who uh, developed its own files to pre-configure games for Sega Model 2 emulator. So I totally recommend watching that. Very, very cool stuff. So anyway, any questions? This is what I normally ask on live streams. Like I say, and some of you here know, Amiga. I normally do these very early hours of the morning, but I thought today I would start off pretty early. Okay, I have one of the 12 terabyte Knack that runs Hyperspin. It would be way better if it all run retrobat. I'm not familiar with the Kinhank, but you say it runs Hyperspin. It would be way better if it ran all retrobat. Well, what you could do with this, if you've got a 12 terabyte and it's got games in there, why not just extract the games or just take the games out of it and then put them into the retrobat folders? Is it possible to add Xbox 360 games on RetroArch? No, absolutely not. So RetroArch is going to cover and it's going to emulate a lot of systems. Um, let's see, PlayStation 3 isn't through RetroArch at the moment. That's obviously a standalone RPCS3. You also got Nintendo Switch, which I don't really talk about too much, to be honest. But again, Nintendo Switch you can do through RetroArch, and the Xbox 360 can't be done through RetroArch, and the original OG Xbox. So yeah, those four in particular. You also got teknoparrot, which can't be run through RetroArch. But like I said, RetroArch itself, it does cover a vast majority of all their retro systems, but just a few in particular which doesn't. Yeah, so Amiga, exactly. That's what I said. If you don't really like Hyperspin too much, and the issue is with Hyperspin, something I never suggest doing is buying pre-configured systems like these hard drives. One, because you're not learning anything about the mechanics in that. No PlayStation 3 on RetroArch. So yeah, we're buying hard drives full of games, and they're very expensive, like really expensive. I've seen these on Google, and to be honest, they make me laugh. Literally, it's just a case of the seller cloning hard drive images and then dumping it onto a hard drive and then selling it at a ridiculous price. Reason I don't recommend these pre-configured hard drives, simply because you're not learning about the mechanics. If something breaks, maybe you could send it back to the seller, but they'll likely charge you a lot of money to do a couple minutes of work, which they're used to. So for that reason, I think there's a big industry out there, or place out there for me on YouTube, as well as others, to do your own setup guides. It takes these expensive hard drive people out of the picture. It gets you what you want for nothing, quite literally, so long as you own the games. And yeah, like I say, quite frankly, I think the resellers of putting images on the hard drives is just outrageously priced. I mean, I'm not going to shame any of these people now, but I can think of a couple of these sellers who do this. I mean, just type into Google hard drive retro, and some of the prices is just absolutely astronomical, just ridiculous. How do these people sleep at night? So avoid buying these hard drives, do it yourself, and learn about it. So, anyways, yeah, that's my little rant about hard drives out of the way. So, hi, congratulations on the dog, but I have a problem with Astro Boy and Monarch. Introductory video makes two noises. So Enzo, I'm not sure what the dog is about. I have a problem with Astro Boy and to be honest with you, Enzo, I'm not sure what your question is. I'm not sure what system this is for, and I don't know anything about no dog either. So, if you could explain it, I might be able to help you with that. But yeah, no idea about no dog. Now we got a neighbour a couple of doors down. Now this dog barks constantly. It's like hell sometimes in this area I live in. The dog's barking early hours of the morning. You got people in the distance shouting to say shut up to the dog. They got work the next day. People like myself were trying to make videos throughout the day as well, editing things. Anyways, anyone say anything to the owner of this dog, then all you're likely going to get is a screaming match. And, well, let's just say he's not a very nice gentleman. In fact, I'm not going to say he's a gentleman at all. He's something else. We'll say something else. And if you're watching this, Mr. Dog Owner, you don't scare me, and you don't scare my missus either. So let that be a warning to you. You know what, Omega? For $170 for an empty 12 terabyte, then technically that's pretty good value in itself for a 12 terabyte for $170. Like I said, I've just heard people in the past talk about these type of things. Just so expensive, and most of the time, the hard drives they do supply are probably like some really cheap copies. And obviously, in that industry of USB sticks in media storage media, there's a lot of fakes out there, and there's a lot of rubbish. So yeah, that's why I'm very reluctant to recommend or even suggest to anyone to use those. Okay, Trollbot. I bought a multi-cart in some of the have simmer. Do you know what's going on? No, really, if anyone's got any questions, if you can be a bit more specific, I'm not sure what this is. Bought in multi-cart for what? I can I contact you in private? Enzo, if you want, let's see, what was your original question? Well, right now, obviously, I'm on a stream. If you need any assistance, just comment on one of my videos it's related to, and I'll try my best to try sort that out for you. But yeah, just remember that I do upload a lot, and I'm editing a lot and filming throughout the day, unless the damn dog is barking a couple of doors down and I'm getting a headache from the owner of the dog. So just be cautious and mindful that just Jamie can be very busy listening to dogs barking all day most days. I bought a multi-car and some of the games are simming in the graphics. So yeah, Trollbot, multi-cart to me, that tells me it's an original Game Boy cartridge, or I could be wrong. You've got lots of different multi-carts for different systems today. Bought more carts, some of the games are simmering in the graphics. So really, I've no idea how to suggest help or help you at all with that question. I'm not sure what it's for. Uh, what is the multi-cart for? Is it a Game Boy? Steam Deck? I've no idea. So, anyways, let's have some questions. What is it you'll want to see on my channel? What should I be doing more of? Do I look sexy enough in this cap I'm wearing today and this checkered red and black shirt? Do I look good enough? So, yeah, going back to Enzo, you can contact me. Of course, you can contact me. Just Not my just Jamie email address. Just drop me a comment in one of the videos it relates to, and I'll get back to you shortly with that after the stream. And Trollbot, just to give me a bit of clarity, what it is the multi-cart is for. Simmering in graphics, I mean, it could be a video driver issue, or it could be an issue with the multi-cart itself and the games it's got on it. So no idea. So good turnout so far. So 13 concurrent users is pretty good. And if you notice, I've got this up just here. My YouTube studio just tells me how many people was here. It's very, very helpful. And as always, I'm really grateful for anyone who turns up to my streams. It's good to have a bit of company that isn't a damn dog barking in the owner. Okay, so it's Sega Genesis games and multi-cart. Some of the games are shimmering like yeah, I see. Uh, well, if the games are Mega Drive games or Sega Genesis games, there's a problem already. So you bought a multi-cart. It sounds like you possibly got a Sega Genesis rather than a Mega Drive. So it could be that some of your files on the multi-cart are designed, sorry, are Genesis. Some could be Mega Drive. So you've got several different regions for old school games like Mega Drive games. So you'll get North American, you'll get Japanese. So it could possibly be something to do with the file types you've got. Something else to consider with glitchy graphics could be the multi-cart itself. It could be defective. So uh, it could be maybe you bought a dodgy copy. Who knows? Okay, so if you could only pick one front end, which one would you choose? I would absolutely 100% pick Launchbox. Now, a lot of I've had this conversation a lot during my streams, which would be my front end choice. The reason being is that yes, you need to pay for Launchbox, but I don't mind paying for people's hard work. And trust me, there's a lot of hard work in updates for Launchbox. Secondly, a Launchbox is highly configurable. You can do a hell of a lot with it, like loads with it. And also, in terms of a hyperspin aesthetic, the look of it, the wheel and everything, using big box is quite likely the best you'll get out there. It's just a very, very cool system, Launchbox, and I totally recommend it. And in terms of a free front end, which don't cost anything, then quite easily, I'd likely say retrobat for that. In terms of simplicity and being a freebie, no props at all, Trollbot. Okay, so let me just tell everyone what I'm planning on doing in the next couple of days. So what we're doing is going to be a new standalone PlayStation setup guide. I'm not going to tell you the name of it, but for PlayStation fans out there, this is going to be an emulator I've not yet covered. And to be honest, I've only just recently found out about this one myself. But it's not DuckStation and it's not EPSXE. It's something different, but when I uploaded EPCS6E a little while back, so mouthful, I was actually surprised that one was as popular as it was. That's one of my best viewed videos. So we're going to try another one. I'm also planning on doing a couple of more pinball videos. Again, I uploaded virtual pinball standalone setup the other day, and I wasn't expecting that one to be as popular as it was. But yeah, so I'm going to do more on that. Uh, duh, 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 duh. And if any of you's watched them, I uploaded a Dreamcast game video with a Sega Genesis or Mega Drive gameplay video. So I'm looking at more expanding the channel to do different things rather than just strictly being an emulator setup guide. It's great, it is and it's good. Let's just make this a general retro gaming channel, which has everything: game reviews, new games for old systems, a bit of everything. That's what I'm aiming for. Okay, Paul Smith, good to see you. You know what? That's one of the reasons I aimed this stream today at starting fairly early because in the past I've had a lot of British people um, saying, "Oh, we've missed it because it's far too late." Now, typically, I do streams 1, 2 in the morning sometimes, and that's simply because if I look at my analytics, my biggest audience is actually in the United States. So you know what? I thought let's just do it a little bit earlier today and show a bit of appreciation to people a little bit closer to home. So let's just say under geography, under my YouTube studio, 25.1% of my audience is American, whereas 9.7% of my audience is British. So obviously doing it this early, a lot of Europe would see this as well. So it's good. Of course, Europe's time zones are slightly different, but generally to catch the American audience, then it does need to be early hours, which is a bit knackering sometimes. Hello from Britain to Germany. Good evening, Classy X. How are you? How are you today? Time difference with Germany and Britain. What are you around 2 hours ahead or behind? One or the other, I think it is. 1 hour, says my partner. 1 hour. She's my partner's actually got family in Germany. Personally, I've always wanted to go to Germany. Berlin is the place I want to go to for a very long time. And believe it or not, I actually want to go to Russia as well. Uh, now, North Korea, that's going too far, but Russia, yeah, definitely. And what? I'm not going to get into a political speech or whatever, but the point is that most people know what Putin is, and you can't blame the Russians for that. They got no control over what their dictator does. So it's the way it is. 1 hour, yeah. As my partner just said that. Not sure. Whereabouts in Germany are you? I will get there one day. Trouble is with me, I don't like flying. Um, I go up in the sky, and the last time I went up in the sky, I was having major panic attacks. And to be honest, I was glad to have my feet back on the ground. I just couldn't stand it. Hello, Trollbot. So whereabouts in America are you? Hmm. Hamburg in the north, where the Beatles started their career in the early days. Oh, actually, that's where my partner's uncle lives, Hamburg. So I was just told. And being a Beatles fan, my dad's been a massive, massive Beatles fan. I know that the Beatles started their early days playing in Hamburg. So yeah, I'll get to Germany one day probably, and we'll try and get to Russia as well at some point. And yeah, like I say, North Korea is a different story altogether. But I would like to go there one day, but definitely not going to be flying. It's going to be maybe a taxi through Europe. Uh, Paul, so light guns, I do get asked this on and off. Now, the only issue I got, German food. Do you know what? To be honest with you, I'm not sure of German's food. Sorry, Germanist foods. I'm not entirely sure. Of course, yeah, you got beer. So, my dad years ago in the 90s, he was doing coach trips to Germany, and I'm pretty sure it's Germany at the time. Haribo wasn't a very well-known sweet in the UK. And you also got Grolsch as well, Grolsch Lager, Grolsch beer, and at the time, those two things wasn't known in the UK. And it seems after the years have passed, all of a sudden in the UK now we got Haribo, we got Grolsch, but there was a time that would have been exclusive to Germany, I think. Okay, so it's not MAME, it was Model 3 PW. So yeah, so Star Wars trilogy on Model 3. Uh I've not I've done a setup guide on it, but it's not actually one I've tested. So I can't help you from there, but if anyone's got any advice for PW, he's asking Star Wars trilogy on Model 3 Supermodel emulator doesn't boot or it doesn't work. Like I said, I've not actually tried that one. Most of my setup guides I literally make them, edit them, and after I'm done filming and editing, I literally delete everything. I've got no use for it. It's just keeps me off the streets. That's the way I look at it. So yeah, Paul. Sorry, going back to light guns. Yeah, something I want to do. One, I don't have a light gun because, to be honest, I'm not particularly a light gun person. And three, it's an extremely niche audience. Now, of course, I need to get as many views as possible. That goes for any YouTuber. Your aim is to get as many views as possible. It's been requested, but yeah, I mean, what is it in particular, Paul, you want help with light guns? Retrobat, maybe? So it's kind of things like light guns, that type of thing. That's why I asked for supporting the channel from time to time. If you want to support the channel and donate that type of thing, it's bits and pieces like light guns and this and that, which I put the money towards to expand the channel to make it better. So yeah, I'll say again, if anyone's planning on supporting, just send it to my PayPal just there. And like I say, things like light gun. I can't do anything because I literally don't own a light gun. But if I was to get one, I would happily do some videos around it, provided I know what it is, which system it's for. Yeah, Paul, going back to the light gun again, someone was actually telling me the other day, I think it was a Sinden light gun, which is a very good brand to go for. But like I said, not really that interested. First computer or console. My first computer actually was a C64. That was 1990. I won't tell you too much about it because I can do your heads in very easy talking about Commodore 64. Big Commodore fan, massive Commodore fan, and it's simply the greatest thing whichever was. Xbox, PlayStation, nah, forget it, man. It's all about Commodore, Amiga, and the 64 all the way. First console. First console was the Nintendo NES, and it came with Gyromite and the robot, Bob the robot. I think it was. Is it Bob? Pretty sure it was Bob. But that package, the Nintendo NES variant with Gyromite in it and Rob the robot, they go for an absolute fortune today. Now, in the early 90s, when my dad bought one of these, they were fairly cheap. What, £100, 150 at the time? But literally throughout the 90s, I pretty much had every system around. It was a good time to buy older consoles and especially older computers in the early 90s, mid 90s, because people was moving on to new systems at the time. And of course, all the microcomputers of the 80s, nobody wanted anymore. So car boot cells, that type of thing was just ideal back in the early 90s. And I used to go to car boots every Sunday with my dad. I don't go to car boot sales anymore simply because it's completely full up with dealers. Um, who literally doesn't want to drop a penny on their asking price. And I'm not a big fan of dealers, if I'm honest. But yeah, you name it, I pretty much had it. BBC Micro, I picked up at a car boot sale in Bath, a place called Lansdowne, probably mid 90s. It was a BBC Micro Model B, had a cub monitor with it, which was the official monitor to go with the BBC Micro. It had tons of those old school black floppy disks. And I think it was some like £5 or £10. And literally every Sunday, before I went to the car boot sales, my dad's back then, my mum would say to my dad or me directly, Jamie, no computers. Because I literally I was obsessed with computers, kind of like I still am, but I've sort of toned it down a little bit these days. First computer was a Commodore Plus 4. Laser Zone, good game. Jeff Minter, very well known in the micro world. You know what? The Commodore Plus 4 has actually got a fairly good scene today. I actually uploaded Hello Gaming Rules. I actually uploaded a very good port on the Commodore Plus 4 of Turbo Outrun a few months ago, and the gameplay is mind blowing for a Commodore Plus 4. The music sounds like the C64 SID chip. And it's like, really, is this actually running on the Plus 4? Of course, the Plus 4 was pretty much a business computer, which kind of failed. It wasn't Commodore's best-selling machine, but nevertheless, to get Turbo Outrun going like it did earlier this year, it was pretty impressive. So yeah, Commodore 64 all the way. The Atari computers. I'm not going to talk about Atari. We'll just say that. So talking about Atari, obviously Atari ST strong point and selling point was MIDI. When I started music college in around 1999 2000, in the music department where you actually develop music, if you was in the keyboards computers, which I didn't do as a proper band person, rather than messing around keyboards, we had an Atari ST. I think it was a 520 model, and even back then, as I pretty old, but it was still being used in the late 90s to produce music. And I'm pretty sure the Essex group, the Prodigy, was messing around with either an Amiga or an Atari ST in the early 90s to produce their music. So, yeah, Prodigy, man, absolutely amazing stuff. And they're still around despite Keith Flint being dead. The Prodigy is still a thing. Yeah, Atari 1040 with music program. So I'm not too familiar with that music program, but to my understanding, yeah, it was very good, the ST for MIDI music. But like I said, I just never got into the Atari ST. Growing up in the 90s, I had a neighbour called Gary. He's dead now, but he was such a legend of a bloke. The sort of bloke, it told a lot of bull crap, but you couldn't help but like him. He was just a really nice bloke. And for years, he kept talking about the Atari ST, the mighty ST. And when I finally got one, mm, put it like this, it had to have a battery to run it. And quite literally, this is going about 15 years ago, quite literally, I had to go to a car mechanics to get a battery to make the ST work. So, yeah, it's a pretty random story. Best N64 emulator goes to Project 64 or Mupen's Plus. Bear with me, it's definitely Project 64 as a standalone. And we've also got Rosalie's Mupen GUI, I think it's called. I've actually covered it. Bear with me. You know what? It's actually nice to have this stream going early. I feel a bit more energized rather than doing this very late at night like I normally do. Okay, so N64 Project 64. That's essential. That's a very good one. For N64, I've also done Rosalie's Mupen GUI. And I'm pretty sure I covered another one. Yes, Project 64 Legacy Final. Okay, Piece of Shape. That's an interesting username. A lot of people have the same problem as me. Well, what's the problem? Oh, right, okay, yeah, sorry, I just missed that. So, hey, Jamie, love your content. Can you do a few episodes on MU? I think that's meant to be Emulec. Uh, if that's meant to be Emulec, so Emulec is just for Apple computers. If that's what you're saying, I'm pretty sure that's a Mac front end. Yeah, so Gamer Rules he seconds me on Project 64. I think Project 64 is known to be the best. Yeah, I just read that piece. So if you can just clarify, so it is, it's for Apple Mac. So I don't actually own an Apple Mac. So I mean, if you want to buy me an Apple Mac, I'll do some Apple Mac videos. But apart from that, I'm quite happy being a Windows person. Uh, So yeah, from time to time, people will ask me if I can do Apple Mac based setups, and I don't have a Mac. Truth be told, I had a lot of requests around a year ago for Steam Deck tutorials, so I purposely bought a Steam Deck to make some setup guides. and I was pretty much let down. Over time now, it's taken a year, but views on those old Steam Deck videos they've actually risen. But yeah, I'm not going to be going out my way to buy a Mac, so not a chance. Mhm. Mhm. Android. Okay, Android. Okay, Emulate on Android. I'm not. Let's have a look. Emulate. I know of the front end. Let's just check this. If Emulate is on Android, I'm just it'll probably be on the Play Store. What I'm gonna do is make a note in my little note document, videos to do, which I put my to do videos in when I'm doing streams. So I'm gonna just put Emulate Android, and if it does work with Android, then yeah, I'm happy to do a couple of videos on that. Obviously, I've got a Samsung S22, I think it is, the latest. So, okay. So, Android running RetroArch. I actually did an Android setup guide, a very basic Android setup guide for RetroArch Android setup guide a little while ago. It's hidden deep in the depths of my videos I've uploaded, but it is there. Yeah, I totally agree. I paid for the upgrades for Redream quite some time ago, and I literally found the file the other day on my computer, and yeah, it's very good stuff. So obviously for Dreamcast, you've also got Flycast. In terms of simplicity and a nice user interface, it's definitely Redream all the way. Hello, Sammy, and good afternoon to $1 American. And no problem, piece of shit. I'm not a piece of shit. I like what you've done with your username there. Okay, when I tried it. Okay, I'll tell you what, piece of shit. I'll link you to that video just to save you some time. Like I said, it's buried in the darkest pits of my channel. Here it is. If I just send you this. So it's like I said, it's a fairly old video, but it will get you started on Android with RetroArch. And this one is going to show you how to set up Nintendo NES. Yeah, I think gaming rules. I think, yeah, to be honest with you, Redream is better. Although the only advantage what Flycast has got over Redream is things like adding DLC. Dreamcast has got DLC for particular games. Redream can't do that. Also, you can use Flycast to add HD texture packs, whereas Redream can't do that either. So they both kind of beneficial in their own ways. So what's everyone playing lately? What systems are people playing at the moment? I uploaded literally about half hour before I started this stream a very awesome Sega Model 2 emulator setup guide, and I got the blessing of another YouTuber known as the one and only Warped Polygon. Warped Polygon is a very good YouTuber, and he's very good with Sega Model 2 and Model 3 emulation. So the video I did today, Sega Model 2, is actually using files which Warped Polygon designed, uploaded. Very, very good and talented person in the retro gaming community. Really awesome stuff. So yeah, gaming rules. It's they both got their advantages pretty much. Can you show me best settings for MGS HD collection? MGS. Okay. Metal Gear Solid, I'm guessing MGS stands for. I'm really sorry, but all these abbreviations in things are a little bit like Call of Duty MW, or COD MW rather. All the cool kids, I'm going to play GTA IV or GTA 6 or COD and stuff, and it's like, just say it, man. Call of Duty Modern Warfare. It's not that hard. So you get all these abbreviations, and it's like someone asked me something the other day, put a load of letters, and it's like, what is this game? I don't know what it is. Yeah, Diddy Kong Racing, N64. Bought that one when it came out around 1997. I think that was from a local game shop in Kingswood, where I came from originally in Bristol. A bit of a dive nowadays, to be fair, but it has been for years. And what do you do? God, it's pretty funny, like confusing kids with I'm not going to say who, but I confused someone's kid a little while back, and he was talking about COD, MWs and CWs and stuff. And I said to him, I said, so you say COD MW, why can't you say COD G? And of course, this will be Call of Duty Ghosts. And he simply said to me, it's well, people don't say it. There's like, well, why is it okay then to say COD MW, but you can't say COD G? Or why can't you say COD AF or something, advanced AW, COD AW. If you're going to be cool, acting cool, copying the trends at the time, do it the right way. Abbreviate all of these COD games. Oh yeah, another famous one is COD BO. I think that's quite funny. I'm playing COD BO3, BO4. Does anyone else agree with me on the all COD in abbreviated games? COD Ghost, it is underrated. I think it's underrated. It's a very good game, that one. That one released when I was working with Blockbuster years ago, and I remember that one had pretty bad press at the time. Most of them do, to be honest. I mean, Vanguards came out, and I thought that's a great game. It's probably one of the best in years. And the slating that one got, but I'm looking at it personally from a single player campaign perspective. I didn't play online. Yeah, asbestos. You know what I'm saying. Cod body odor 4, BO4. You know exactly what I'm saying. Cod BO. What Mario Kart game you played? Which one haven't I played? I played all of them. Literally every one. Normally, when a new Mario game comes out, I go and buy a Nintendo system to play the Mario game. And bear with me, it's my partner's friend asking me to tell her something. Well, all right. I do apologise. Yeah, exactly, Nodster. I totally, absolutely, 100% agree with you. So, when you look down into this, when you explore what other people think of these ridiculous names for these games, which, well, it's pretty funny actually. COD. Of course, back in the day, you have Medal of Honor. Every now and again, not too often, you would see abbreviations. What was it? MOH. It didn't sound so bad, more. But COD BO? Yeah, Medal of Honor, those were the days. What do we have? Was it Frontline Medal of Honor on the PS2? Frontline Medal of Honor. What a great game. Yeah, one of the PlayStation 2's first releases, and that totally sold me to the PS2. Although that generation, I was definitely original Xbox over the PlayStation 2, which a lot of people find a bit strange. Yeah, COD BO2. Yeah, it's a good game. The opening for COD. Look, you're getting me saying this now. Call of Duty Black Ops 2. Yeah, it's a good game. The Wii U surprisingly did a really good job of powering that game as well. Really surprising how well the Wii U was performing on some of those more demanding games. Going back to Mario Kart. Personally, I think my favorite Mario Kart game would be. Oh, let's have a think. I'll be honest with you. One of the only Mario Kart games I don't like is the Super Nintendo Mario Kart, the original first ever Mario Kart game. Never been too convinced with that one. Uh, I think. Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U when it came out originally for the Wii U before the Switch had it. I think out of all of them, I think Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U was the one I played the most. I really like that one. Yeah, VR Medal of Honor. And if you're watching this, I'm not going to say your name, but son, if you're watching this stream, check out Medal of Honor VR. No idea what it's like, but I know the release. And of course, I don't use VR because it makes me ill. So, yeah, it's a shame really because there was actually a Wolfenstein VR as well and something else, but I just don't cope too well with virtual reality, which is a shame, really, because there are some good games. Yeah, you know what, Nodster? If you've got the game, Mario Kart for the Wii, a very great game, really good game. If you've got the game, play it on emulator. The reason being is the Dolphin emulator will literally upscale that game to around 4K. Done guides on that in the past, and you can make Mario Kart Wii just look absolutely phenomenal, mind blowing stuff, as well as the GameCube Mario Kart, which I can't think the name of it, but yeah. Can you show if Vulkan is compatible for Xenia? Well, just Google it for you. All part of the service. Let's have a look. I'm pretty sure it is, Xenia. Xenia emulator Vulkan. Let's have a look. Can you tell we're switching between DirectX 12 and Vulkan? So it looks like Xenia actually supports Vulkan, but let's take a look. So according to this Reddit just here, so saying it works better with Vulkan, DirectX 12. Let's actually go to the GitHub where we Vulkan based. By the looks of it, it does support Vulkan. Yeah, it does support Vulkan. So yeah, if you're still here, it supports Vulkan. That's confirmed by another person watching this. Yeah. So yeah, let me just say this clear. If anyone wants to support me on the channel, please, 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 support me. Whoops, wrong. Whoa, 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 wait a minute. Anyone? God damn. If anyone wants to support on the work I do, I wouldn't say it was work really. I would say more freelancing. That's a family private joke. That one. If anyone wants to support me on my channel, please send it to PayPal. Yeah. So Xenia emulator, of course, that's the Xbox 360 emulator. Every now and again, I'll dive into that emulator to see what's new, but it's same generation as PlayStation 3. Um, but to me, it seems that the RPCS3 setup, website itself, and the support and the updates, it's a lot better than the 360, which is a real shame. So, uh, yeah, I think the last time I did a Xenia setup guide, I think I use my disc of Project Gotham Racing 3 as a part of that setup guide. Great game back in the day. I think it was one of the 360's original launch titles. Project Gotham Racing 4 was just a bit wasn't quite right, but the third one, wow, what a game in its day. The person I was going out with at the time, even her dad played it. That was the days when he wasn't telling my kids to tell me to piss off, that type of thing. But anyway, different story. But Project Racing, Project Gotham 3, absolutely awesome 360 exclusive. Oh, I see. All right. Look, everyone. I've got to go. I've just told that my partner's friend's son has just gone missing, so I'm gonna go out and look for him with my partner. So I wouldn't plan on doing this, but I've got to go. So anyways, until next time, everyone, stay retro. Well, that got me off. Still lagging a bit. It was good. I feel a bit